What's up, Dragon Ball Super players? Welcome back to Crossworld TCG. My name is Logan, and today we're going to be covering my updated Lemon Lime Golden Frieza deck, featuring some of the new cards out of the Set 6 starter deck, as well as the feature rare from Clash of Fates. Jumping right into what the leader does, he is a yellow Frieza card with a Frieza Army tag, and activate main once per turn. Place one of your Frieza Army battle cards to the drop area, choose up to one of your energy, untap it, and draw one card. And then when you awaken, at 4 life, you get to draw 2 cards and flip him over, and he becomes Ultimate Form Golden Frieza. Activate main once per turn, place one of your Frieza battle cards into the drop, and this time you get to untap 2 energy, which is really cool because on turns, if you're trying to awaken, if you already have a couple of these 1-drops laying over on your field, you get to use your front side effect to pop that 1-drop to draw a card, awaken, draw 2 cards, and if you have another Frieza Army battle card on the board, you get to pop that card as well, to untap another 2 energy and draw another card. So when you awaken on that turn, your leader has the potential to generate you 4 cards worth of advantage as well as 3 energy, which is very strong for any kind of tempo play that you're trying to do. Before, a lot of the targets that we had were not really that good. There wasn't a lot of good 1-drop, 2-drop targets that we could play for really cheap pop to get a ton of value out of his effect. However, with the new cards out of the Set 6 starter deck, we got a few tools that really, I think, improve this deck a lot. Starting off, we have 4 copies of Cheelai, Frieza Force Soldier, 1-drop, 4k power, 5k combo. When you play this card, draw 1 card. Very much like that Blue Boo from Set 1, she's just in here to draw a card and then be popped by Frieza's effect to draw another card and untap an energy. Really, this is one of the key cycling cards that the deck was missing. Avenging Frieza was serving a similar role to this card where you're playing it for 1 energy on your first turn to get more advantage to keep playing. And now we have a green card that does the same thing as well, which is really, really solid. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to use her activate main to play a Frieza army of 2 or less from your deck because we're not playing a green Frieza's army leader. However, still very much worth playing for the cycling that it allows you to use. And on the back side, on your awakened side, you're able to play this for 1 energy, draw a card, and then pop it to untap 2 energy to draw another card. So it essentially turns into a Senzu Bean that draws 2 cards, which is really cool. And then that's all I have to say for her. Moving on, we're playing 4 copies of Infernal Emperor Frieza. This is the 1-drop 10k Self-Awakener that came out of not Colossal Warfare, a Miraculous Revival. Really sparked a lot of the ideas for this deck because he is a green Frieza army leader. Got to play a bunch of these cool green cards that he has access to, and because we have the energy untap, we're able to protect him as well. But really a solid Self-Awakener, so when you play him, he takes a life and you pop him to restand an energy to draw another card. So really just replaces himself for a +1 and gets you closer to your state of awakening. Next, moving on, we have the feature rare out of Clash of Fates, Cheelai the Beautiful, 2-drop, 1 specified green, 15 power, 5k combo, auto, once per turn. When one of your opponent's battle cards is KO'd, opponent chooses 1 card in their hand and places it in the drop area. This card is really cool, synergizes well with a few of the cards in this deck that allow us to pop cards on your opponent's side of the board, but it's also just a fantastic Frieza's Army card. The fact that it's a 2-drop, 15k is really cool. If you need to, you can swing with it, pop it with your leader to draw additional cards, and then really to summon this card out, we have Limo Frieza Force Soldier. This card is also really good. It's a 2-drop green, 15k, 5k combo power. Activate main once per turn. Tap a green. Choose 1 card from your hand. Place it in the drop. Choose 1 Cheelai BR with an energy of 2 or less from your deck and play it. Then shuffle your deck. So this guy is really cool because he summons out both of the Cheelais that we play in the deck, which is nice because if you use your Golden Frieza effect on the backside, you get to replace the card, or you get to pop the card you bring out or the Limo to draw a card and completely untap. So essentially this guy comes out for free, and then every turn that he's on the board, he will generate you a 2-drop 15k attacker that has the potential to rip cards out of your opponent's hand every single turn, just for a single energy, which allows you to do a lot of stuff. And it turns all of your 2-drop Cheelais also into Senzu Beans on your awakened side because your leader can pop them to draw cards and to restand energy after they've already swinged to put pressure on, which is really cool. This card allows you to lower the curve of your deck as well, play a little bit more aggressive in the early turns, which I think is really neat and a really solid addition to this deck. Moving on, we have 2 copies of Iron Hammer of Justice Android 16. This card is really good in tandem with Cheelai the Beautiful. It is a 3-drop 15k revenge blocker. Auto, when this card KOs a battle card, or your opponent's battle card, it restands itself. So this combos well with Cheelai the Beautiful because you're able to stop your opponent from attacking for 1 and KO some severe threats because he's a revenge blocker, but also because it's popping a card with his blocker or a revenge effect, it'll trigger Cheelai on your opponent's turn. So if you have a few Cheelais out on the board and the Iron Hammer of Justice, your opponent has to deal with it first before doing anything else, otherwise they're going to get punished super hard, which is really cool. I wish I had room for more in the deck. I think there's a little bit of finagling you could do, maybe with a Source of Power, moving it down to 2, and then moving Iron Hammer up to 3. But the Awakening tools are very important in this deck because you want to flip over as soon as possible to get the most out of your leader effect. Moving on, we play 3 copies of Combo Killer Anilaza. This card is really good. He has his barrier, double strike, and when your opponent combos the first time in that turn, their opponent has to discard a card from their hand, so it just makes your opponent comboing out of stuff a little bit more difficult. This comboed with Cheelai can make your opponent have a really bad time because you're able to just continuously rip cards out of your opponent's hand. We're not super focusing on the Cheelai effect to rip cards, but there are a decent amount of cards in this deck that will help you trigger that effect. Really just a solid card for green, and I don't think anything else needs to be said about this guy, so I'm going to move on to 4 Infernal Villainy Cell. This is the 110k pseudo super combo, very much like Unbreakable Son Goku. It's a 110k. When you combo with this card or play it, you get to draw a card. He's also a green 20k crit, so if you need to, you can play him, and his effect also triggers when you play him, which is really cool. So you're able to swing with him if you need to, but most of the time you're going to be using his excess combo power, because on the first turn you'll be able to use your Cheelai or anything to draw a card and then have an energy open for on the defense if you need to. And then that's where this guy serves his purpose, is that our leader's constantly untapping cards on your turn, and you're probably going to leave some open for when it's your opponent's turn. Moving on, playing 3 Kami's Power Piccolo. This card is a barrier, double striker, activate main, bond 2. You get to pop any card on your opponent's side of the field, which is really good. He's very difficult to deal with, KOs a card every single turn. If you have a Cheelai on the board, every time you pop a card, your opponent's going to be discarding cards, and it's not very difficult to get multiple Cheelais on the board with Limo in the deck. I was considering playing the Frieza's Call. It's the 1-drop yellow card that allows you to play a card in rest mode, but it was a little bit too, it made the deck a little bit too extra card heavy, and it wasn't a green card, which I didn't like, and it wasn't a card that I could combo, or I could blow up with Frieza to draw an additional card, so I opted just to keep it as the way it is. So you still have to hard cast Limo, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it's not the worst thing in the world, honestly, for the amount of advantage that these cards generate. And going back to Kami's Power, like I said with Cheelai, every time you pop a card, your opponent's going to be forced to discard cards, and really allows you to play a very control-y style with this deck. Moving on to the yellow package, we have 4 Avenging Frieza. This card is really cool. It's the backbone a lot of the searchability in this deck, because it's when you play this card, you get to look at the top 3 cards of your deck and choose a 1 or a 2-drop or lower Frieza Army battle card and add it to your hand. This is where a lot of the problems of the earlier versions of this deck came in, is the fact that this guy can only add 2-drops or less. However, with all of these great new 2-drops that we have in this deck, this guy gains a ton of new utility, which is just fantastic, because before there was like a handful of good targets, like Infernal Emperor Frieza was a good target, Golda was an okay target, you have your super combo, which was another target, but really that's only like 15 targets if you include himself. But now with the new Cheelai and Limo cards, that number goes up to like 24, which is just great, honestly. And then we're having more Frieza Army battle cards coming out in the future with the set, so I wouldn't be too surprised if we got even more cards that synergize with the green strategy. But a lot of the green cards also seem to have the tag where they have to be played in a green Frieza Army deck, but that still doesn't get rid of the utility of Avenging Frieza even in those decks. Moving on, we have 2 copies of Ginyu Force Goldo. These were, they're just 1-drop blockers. They're Senzu Beans if you need them on your Awakened side. They're yellow energy, or scryable yellow energy off of Avenging Frieza, which is very relevant at times. And it's also a blocker for additional defense if you had that open. Not too much needs to be said. He's kind of the 49th and 50th cards in the deck. I felt like I wanted more targets, as much as that is. Like, all these targets are really great, but I just wanted more, so that's why he's in here. Moving on, we have 4 copies of Dodoria. This is our super combo for the deck. He's scryable off of Avenging Frieza, which is really cool. Overall, just a fantastic card for the archetype. Moving on, we have 3 Source of Power Son Goku. This card is really strong, really necessary for this deck specifically. He's a 3-drop, 15k, only 1 yellow specified cost, which is really good for us because it means we're able to play a green or 2 greens and then a yellow down by turn 3 and still have access to Source of Power Son Goku to allow us to awaken. Awakening can be an issue in this deck, like I said earlier, so we're playing 3 in here to guarantee that we flip over. You really do want to flip by turn 3 or turn 4. If you're not flipped by then, these older leaders don't gain a ton of value because really the front sides, they don't make up for it. He's not as bad as some of the other older leaders, but really you do need to flip as soon as possible so you can start drawing cards on every swing and untapping additional energy every single turn. Moving on, we're playing 2 copies of Mecha Frieza, the Returning Terror, or Resurrected Terror, Returning Terror, one of the two, I'm sorry. It's a 4-drop, 15k, 2 specified yellow, which is a little pricey, 110k, but it is, when it comes into play, you get to pitch a card from your hand to pop 2 rested cards on your opponent's board, which will trigger Cheelai, which is really good, and then he'll gain double strike for the rest of the turn. An interesting ruling with this card is that because his auto has actually 2 separate effects in it, you don't have to discard a card to gain the double strike for the rest of the turn. So it's really cool because he's a dual attack double striker even if you don't discard any cards, which allows you to put a decent amount of pressure on, especially if you have like the Shenron, give it crit, which is really cool. He's just an alternate finisher in the deck, allows you to put on more pressure with 4 energy. He's also a Frieza card, which means that he's essentially a 2-drop. Also, he's just, I think, good yellow energy for this deck. That's why he's in here. Continuing on, we're playing 2 copies of Shenron Figure of Majesty. This card used to be at a higher number in this deck. However, since we've gotten better green cards that we can play, I opted to bump him down to 2. His effect is pretty cool because you're able to summon back all of these yellow or all of these green Frieza Army cards, or the yellow Frieza Army cards like Avenging, and then use your leader effect to blow them up to untap 2 energy. So you're able to cycle cards really efficiently, as well as bringing back some of the better 2-drops like Cheelai or Limo late game, which is really cool. He also has the effect to untap energy, so on the turn that you play him, if you already have a Frieza card out on the board, you can play him, use his effect to untap 2 energy and draw a card, and then use your Frieza effect to untap to pop a card to untap 2 to draw another card, and then play down 1 or 2 cards. If you have a Limo established, you can use Limo's effect to bring out another Cheelai from deck, and really just a really solid card. I don't think more than 2 or 3 is super necessary. 4 is a lot. He's dead a lot of the time because he doesn't put pressure on, but having the utility that he provides in this deck is still really solid, and the fact that we're playing 3 copies of Cold Bloodlust to help protect this card also means a lot because in other strategies he's very easy to remove from the board because he doesn't have barrier or anything, and he can't swing, which kind of sucks, so you can't even put pressure on him. Most of the time he gets removed within the first turn. However, because of Bloodlust, we're able to negate anything that might want to kill him and protect it for at least a turn. Which is really cool, and Bloodlust is a very powerful card. I feel like I've been beating a dead horse with this, but I love the Frieza Army leaders. This is like one of the first archetypes that I played, so having access to Bloodlust is something that's really nice and that I've been missing in a lot of decks, and also the fact that people haven't had to play around Bloodlust for a long time now. People just slap their cards on the board, no fear, and Bloodlust really makes them rethink that. Overall, really good card. And then the last 3 cards in the deck are 3 copies of Flying Nimbus. Really, it's just the best negate you can play in this deck. You're playing enough yellow to be able to use its effect, but it's really not the main focus of the deck to be like hyper defensive. You just have the tools to be able to do that, and Nimbus is always going to be a great negate for that purpose, especially since your leader can untap energy. Overall, that's my deck profile for you guys. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you guys haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button. Tell me what you guys think. I'm really excited for these cards to come out. It's a little unfortunate that they don't come out till March, but overall, it's gonna be cool to get your hands on these cards. All of them look like really fantastic, especially this Cheelai the Beautiful from the Clash of Fates. I think this is one of the more interesting cards. Me and my buddy Josh were actually talking about how this card would be very good also in the Android 13 list that we have on the channel right now, because it allows you to turn all of your plays into essentially additional rips and trigger your android multiple times. Every time something hits the board, you get to discard cards from your opponent's hand, making the unending hand loop even worse, which is really cool. I don't know if it's enough to warrant a completely new update, but maybe if we get even more cards that improve that deck, we'll improve that deck again down the line. Like I said, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys next time.